So today we're going to be talking about a growth mindset, and I'm breaking down the topic into three parts. Part one, we're going to be talking about why having a growth mindset matters. Part two, we're going to be talking about reframing those setbacks. And then part three is how can we strengthen the growth mindset once we have it, right? So I'm going to get started. So again, why that mindset matters. So have you ever said to yourself, I'm just not good at that, and then left it at that, right? That's a perfect example of a fixed mindset. It basically decides your ability to do something, and it sets the tone, right? So for example, a fixed mindset can be defined as having a belief of I'm either good at this or I'm not. There's no gray area, right? And sometimes because of us having that fixed mindset, we can avoid certain challenges. We can avoid failure, right? We can avoid trying at something that we feel we might not be the best at, right? Just because we have that fear to fail. And sometimes you see an effort to try to do something as pointless because you're not naturally good at it, right? And then sometimes if you get feedback from people or from professionals, sometimes it can feel like a personal attack because you already don't feel good about it internally, right? So does that ring a bell to anyone? Have y'all ever felt like you had a fixed mindset about something in your life? For me, I could say, and this has happened to me every single time that I have tried something new. So especially in school. So for me, high school into college, like that transition was very difficult. I had a very fixed mindset. I always felt like, school is not for me. Like college is not for me, right? So I had this mindset of like what a good college student looked like, and I did not see myself as that, right? So sometimes I would just choose an easy class, or I would choose a field of study that didn't scare me as much, right? Hence why my first career was medical assisting. I felt like the medical assisting, I've seen people do it and it looked very interesting and I wanted to learn. And even though I was scared, I knew I could do it, right? And it wasn't until I was in it that I was like, oh crap, this is hard. Oh crap, like now I said I'm doing this, so I have to finish, right? But then once I did it, I was like, oh snap, so why was I so afraid, right? Why was I so stuck in this mindset like I'm not good enough for school, or I'm not good enough to graduate, or I don't look like that student over there that has straight A's, right? So have any of you guys felt in your life where you had a certain belief about yourself, or a moment or a decision that you had to make where you felt like you were avoiding it because you were scared to fail, or that you had this like fixed mindset about it where you're like, I'm not good at this, so I'm not trying, right? So I would love for you guys to share. Hi, Tiana. Thank you for coming. Basically, I was just talking about a fixed mindset and asking to see if anyone listening has had a situation or a decision that they had to make that they felt like they were stuck in that fixed mindset where they felt like, I'm not good at this, so why try, right? Or this isn't for me. I'm not naturally good at this. I could have done that for going live. This is something I started recently. And it was very scary for me, like putting myself out there and just talking about stuff. Sometimes I'm talking to 0 people and sometimes I'm talking to 20, right? So it's like on the days where you don't have a lot of engagement, you don't have people showing up, like how do you keep it moving, right? When you don't feel like this is like natural for you, or you don't feel like I'm necessarily really good at this, but I'm still trying, right? Can you guys still hear me okay? Oh, I don't know what just happened. It like made this little GIF thingy pop up. Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you, Kimmy. Thank you, Gabi. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about that fixed mindset, right? So how sometimes you're feeling like, I'm either good at this or I'm not. This does not come natural, so why do I try, right? So now we want to change that. We don't want to stay stuck in that fixed mindset because it almost halts our growth, right? It's almost like I don't want to try because I'm afraid I'm going to fail. But then if you never do try, you're definitely going to fail, right? So when we make that shift and we turn a fixed mindset into a growth mindset, that's where the belief comes in, right? That's where the faith comes in. That's where the trying comes in. So the belief when you have a growth mindset is basically changing from I'm either good at this or I'm not into I can get better at this with effort. I'm not good at it right now, but I can get better with effort. I can get better by learning. I can get better with practice, right? So I think a really good example, my little sister does dance, right? And dance is something that, yes, naturally, some of us can dance. But even if you're a naturally gifted dancer, if you don't practice, there's only so much good you're going to get, right? So, of course, you have to go to the dance classes. You have to go to practice. You have to do your stretching, right? So you can look at that in different areas of your life. You can look at that, instead of looking at the example of my little sister dancing, you can look at your career. You can look at your studies, right? Your education. You can look at that for things in your personal life. Like, how can I be a better parent, right? If there's something that I know that I can be better as a parent, instead of saying, oh, well, this is who I am as a parent, and that's that. No, it's like, this is who I am right now, but how can I improve, right? So a growth mindset allows you, instead of seeing challenges and avoiding them, you want to see challenges as like an opportunity, right? So like if you see something that's difficult, you're like, okay, well, this is an opportunity for me to prove to myself that I can do this, right? And then of course, it really encourages effort because you're not coming at it from a place of like fear or feeling like there's no way. There's no reason I should try this because it doesn't make sense. It's more of like the effort is part of the process of that growth mindset. And then of course, that feedback that you get, that feedback is like fuel for your improvement, right? It's like fuel. It's like feeding you to want to try better and to want to do better, right? So the reason why changing from a fixed to a growth mindset is so important is because that mindset, it shapes how you respond to challenges in your life, right? So let's say that you had a challenge at work, right? Let's say, for example, one of my friends that's on here right now, she works in a hospital setting. So let's say that she had a challenging patient that day, right? Instead of saying, I don't know how to deal with this patient, I'm out of here. No. Instead, she can build on her experience. She knows she's dealt with difficult clients in the past, right? So I can say, maybe I don't know how to deal with this patient right in front of me right now, but I can take all my experience from all the other patients that I've helped and all the other people that I've encountered in my life, right? And I can feel like I can learn how to deal with this patient, right? I can learn how to help them. So the fixed mindset, it's like you hit this wall and then you stop. But the growth mindset is like you hit a wall, but now you're looking for a ladder. Now you're looking for a door, and now you're looking for another path instead. Hi, Naya. Thank you for coming. So over time, this change in mindset starts influencing your resilience. It starts influencing your confidence. And sometimes it even influences the opportunities that come your way because now you're willing to try again. And a lot of times this reflects to others, right? So if you're the boss, right, and you have an employee who every time you assign them a task, they always have this wall like, oh, no, I can't do that. Nope, I don't know how to do that. I can't do it. But then you have another employee who's like, oh yeah, I'm not really sure how to do this, but I'll figure it out. You're more likely to notice the effort from the employee who's always willing to learn and to grow, versus the one that's saying, oh, sorry, don't know how to do that, keep it moving, right? So I want you to think about the last time that you struggled with something. Did you lean more towards like a fixed mindset or a growth mindset in that moment? So I'm going to ask it again. Think about the last time that you struggled with something. And I'm curious to know if you leaned more towards the fixed mindset or the growth mindset. Hi, Keels. Thank you for joining. So I'm going to ask it again. Think about the last time that you struggled with something. And did you lean more towards that fixed mindset where you felt like I hit a wall and I'm stopping right here? Or did you lean more towards that growth mindset where you hit a wall but you looked for a way through? Like you did not give up. Gabi said when I transitioned Gabi into homeschool, I lean more towards which one? The fixed mindset or the growth mindset? Fixed. Oh, can you tell me more about that? Did you feel like you just couldn't do it? Like it was very overwhelming? Hi, Sulin. Thank you for joining. We're talking about a growth mindset today. I'm curious about that because I know that had to be scary. That's a big change. I think it was more about the stigma that homeschooling has. Oh, yeah, that's true. Like you didn't want her to feel like an outcast or like an outsider, right? Because all the other kids, or a lot of other kids, were going to school in person. That's true. That's tough. But look at it now. Look at how well it turned out. So now that we've talked a little bit about why that fixed to growth mindset matters so much and that change matters so much, we're going to talk about reframing those setbacks. It took me a few months to figure it out and it ended up working out. Yeah, thank God. And it's funny you say that. It started off as a fixed mindset where you were like, I hit a wall and that's it. But then it almost like it transitioned into a growth mindset because you kept trying, right? You were like, yes, this is scary, this is crazy, but I know it's the right thing to do, so I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to figure it out, right? So you stayed strong and it worked out. Hi, Carla. Thank you for coming in today. So now we're going to talk, now that we know the difference between a fixed and growth mindset, we're going to talk about how setbacks in life fit into this, right? So when I say setbacks, I mean like obstacles, issues that you encounter, hard times, failures, right? Those are all setbacks. Exactly. Yep. Exacto, mama. Hi, Hartsville. Thank you for coming in. So I'm going to start talking about the mindset shifts, right? So fixed mindsets can ask, why did this happen to me, right? So that's like your mindset when you hit an obstacle or a setback. You're like, why did this happen to me? And when you think like that, it can lead to like blame. It can lead to frustration. It could lead to you feeling like you're stuck in a situation. And sometimes we internalize it and we feel like it's us, right? Like, why did this happen to me? It's all my fault. Why did this happen to me? Because I'm not worthy. Why did this happen to me? Because I'm not capable, right? So this mindset can turn into something that's not helping you as a whole, right? So now looking at it on the other side, from a growth mindset perspective, when you get a setback and when you have a failure instead of saying, why did this happen to me? We can make that shift and just say, what can I learn from this? This is a lesson, right? So it opens the door for growth. It opens the door for you to find solutions. It opens the door for your resilience to shine through. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for coming in. So again, when we make that shift, we go from saying, why did this happen to me? Why am I in this situation, right? And it switches it to, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this situation? What can I learn from this setback, right? How can I now grow? How can I find a solution, right? Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So I want to share an example with you for a reframing example, right? So, of course, this business is a really good example where I've tried to do something for it and it didn't necessarily get the traction that I expected. So like sometimes, you know, you see other people with their, let's see, Elizabeth said, I try not to worry about a problem, but think of a solution. I love that. That's perfect. That's exactly what I really want people to start leaning into. And of course, we're not going to be perfect, right? There's going to be setbacks where we're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened. Oh my God, here we go again, right? But then you got to give yourself grace in that moment, but then take a step back and be like, no, we got this. What can I learn from this? And how can I avoid making this mistake again, right? So for example, for me, when I first started going live, when I first started posting and being very consistent with my page, I was very nervous and I almost expected it to kind of like overnight be like a success, right? Like, oh my God, on my first live, everyone's going to come and everyone's going to love it and everyone's going to engage. It's going to be great. But then sometimes it's crickets, right? No one comes. Sometimes maybe one person will come for a little bit and then they're busy, so they have to go, and that's completely okay. But it kind of makes you kind of scared, right? Like, oh my God, like, so that those thoughts creep in, like, why is this happening to me? Why did I tell myself to do this? Why did I tell myself to put myself out there, right? But then I have to remind myself to take myself out of that mindset and remind myself, no, I'm here for a reason, right? My message is going to reach the people that are meant to hear it. And whoever hasn't heard it yet will hear it someday, right? So I can't be thinking about the things that are not happening. I can think about the things I am doing. I'm still putting myself out there. I'm still going live, even though it's scary, right? So that's a big deal for me. Let's see. Elizabeth said, so no, I just need patience to find the solution. Exactly. Because honestly, most problems have a solution, right? Maybe it's not the solution we want, or maybe it's not a quick solution, but a solution is out there, right? So I want to share why making that shift in your mind can work. So once you make that shift and that you make that change in the way that you think about obstacles and setbacks, you stop seeing these setbacks as like personal failures, right? And you start seeing them as data. So the problem when we have a fixed mindset is that we start internalizing any setback that we have as if we caused everything, right? Like everything's our fault. We're not good enough. We're not worthy, blah, 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 right? But once you make that shift and you start thinking about what can I learn from this, you start almost creating file folders in your mind. Like Exhibit A, I failed at this, but guess what? Here's my evidence that I was still able to get ahead, that I was still able to succeed, that I was still able to find a solution, right? And then every failure almost becomes part of like your own training, right? Like an athlete that's reviewing footage of a game, or like my sister who does dance, who sometimes she has to practice and sometimes she might have a setback and might feel like that was a failure. But when she looks at the overall deal, she's still winning, right? Elizabeth said, I never know how to explain I'm okay to fail. The more I don't know something, it's better for me. I never know how to explain I am okay to fail. So you feel like you don't know how to explain that it's okay to fail? I never know how to tell people, oh, okay, I gotcha. Tell people I'm okay to fail. The more I don't know something, it's better for me. Yeah, because you can learn, right? You can learn from that. You can grow from that. So I'm curious to know, what is one setback that you feel that you can reframe as a lesson if you look at it differently? So what is one setback you can reframe as a lesson if you look at it differently? And you don't have to share specifics. You can always just, give the information you're comfortable with giving. So for me, a setback that I can reframe as a lesson and look at it differently. For me, I'm a mom of 2 boys. And one of my boys has autism and ADHD. And when I tell you, I have been on wait lists for services for my son for years at this point. And it's almost like every time a door opens, another one closes behind it. Because services are so difficult. There's so many wait lists. There's so much time that you have to wait to get services. And it always seems like so stressful and so bad. But then as soon as I feel like this heavy feeling, I get a phone call that I'm off a wait list. Or every time that I feel like, oh my God, why do I even apply to these things if they're never available? I'll get a phone call, right? So it's like, you just have to be patient, and you have to know, you have to start looking at it differently. Like, instead of getting frustrated, just try to be patient and try to see it through and keep trying, right? Elizabeth said, I knocked 3 doors, didn't open. The 4th one opened and it all worked out. I love that. I love that. So you kept pushing, you kept trying, even though doors kept closing on you. That last one that you decided not to give up, boom, that's the one that opened for you. Love that. And then part 3 of today's live is, how can we strengthen our growth mindset, right? Now that we know what a growth mindset means, now that we know how we can try to overcome those setbacks using the growth mindset, how can we strengthen that growth mindset and keep it, right? Because it's so easy to fall back. So a growth mindset isn't something that you're born with, right? It's something that you have to practice. It's like a skill, right? Just like singers can sing, that's their skill. They have to practice. Just like a doctor, they still have to practice, right? Any career, any skill, any talent that you have, regardless of what you have naturally, you have to practice. Mama said, switching the setback for facing straight forward until you reach your goal. Exactly. Exactly. I love that. You got it. So I'm going to talk about 3 different ways that we can strengthen that growth mindset. The first one is embracing the challenges as practice. The second one is replacing I can't with I can't yet. And the third one is celebrating our effort, not just the results. So let's talk about the first one, embracing the challenges as practice. So when you have a challenge, start seeing it as a workout for your brain and your character. So just like we see exercise as a form, yes, it's a challenge, right? Because we want to get our body right. We want to get our minds right, because exercise helps us physically and mentally, right? So when you get challenges, you can start seeing them as like a workout for your brain. You can start seeing them as a workout for your character, right? Hi, Bar Baby. And instead of having that, I have to get this right, try, this is my first rep. I'll get stronger with every try. So for me, I am not good at burpees at all. I don't know if y'all know what burpees are, but it's a crazy workout where you got to jump, then you go into a push-up position, you do the push-up, then you jump back up. It's crazy. It's really hard. And maybe I can't do that many reps, but I'm always proud if I can at least do a couple. I'm like, okay, you're getting better. Get that. Elizabeth said, I think the only gift that God gave me was to walk through the storm as many times necessary. I love that, because if you think about that, Elizabeth, if that's your gift, that means you can get through anything, right? You got this. You know what I'm saying? Any setback that comes your way, you can get through it. So I love that. That's a beautiful gift. Okay. Then the second part is replacing the I can't with I can't yet. Mama said that is one of the most amazing gifts. Yes, it is. Yep. Because it's very hard. So when I say replace the I can't with I can't yet, the yet in that sentence changes the whole energy, right? It turns something from like a dead end, no, into a detour, into an open area, right? Like when I say, oh, I can't do that, that's it. I gave up. That's a definite no, right? But if I say I can't do that yet, that means I'm making an effort that one day my answer is not going to be I can't yet. It's going to be I can now, right? So we got to keep trying until we get to that yes, I can do it. And then an example of this, since we've talked a little bit about exercise, is I can't run 1 mile yet, right? But that yet, it gives you like a possibility. It gives you no limit, right? There's no limitation on there. There's a sign that's telling you that it is possible, right? So when you say that out loud, your brain is hearing that I'm capable of getting there, right? So with practice, with learning, without giving up, we can get there. And then the last part of that is celebrating our effort. And when I say celebrating our effort, I also mean not just celebrating the results, right? So this is the thing. Sometimes we tend to celebrate things that we get just right. We celebrate the results of something, but we don't necessarily celebrate the effort that it took to get there, right? So for example, we're quick to celebrate someone graduating college. We're quick to celebrate someone getting a job, but we don't necessarily celebrate the in-between. We don't celebrate all the nights that they stayed up so they could finish a homework. We don't celebrate the times that they had to study for 5 hours straight just to get a B in a class, right? We don't celebrate the times that they didn't sleep because they had a test the next day and they had to cram a bunch of information in their brain, right? And then for the job, we don't celebrate the 20 applications they had to submit, right, in order to get that job. The 10 interviews they went to that they got denied for, but they still kept pushing, right? So I want you to start thinking about your effort and start celebrating yourself for that effort, not just when you see results. So this could be super small. It could be a pat on the back, like you did that thing. It could be a journal entry. It could be, I'm so proud of myself for doing this today. It could be you telling yourself in the mirror, I'm so proud of you today. You did your thing, right? So for me personally, I'm working on exercising more frequently. So when I do exercise, now I'm like, I hype myself up like I just finished a marathon, because I want to create a positive reinforcement in my mind when it comes to exercise, because I don't have a healthy relationship with exercise. It's almost like it always feels so scary, and it feels so like I don't know, I'm not the person that looks fit, or I'm not the person that can do such a great exercise. I'm not super strong yet, right? But again, we have to change that mindset, and we have to say, I'm not there yet, but I'm gonna get there if I keep going, right? So I have to pat myself on the back when I do it. So I'm curious to know, what is one challenge that you're facing right now that could actually help you grow? So I'm going to ask that one more time. What is one challenge that you are facing right now that could actually help you grow? Hi, La Chula. How are you? No, you didn't, Kim. She said having children. Y'all, that's my best friend. And she's pregnant right now with twins. So yeah, I would agree. I think that is a beautiful challenge that you are facing right now, but it's definitely going to help you grow. Yeah, I'm really excited for you. But at least you're not doing it alone, right? I mean, carrying the children, yes, you're doing that alone. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, we do not get help with that. Our bodies do it by themselves. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah. Anybody else want to share? What's one challenge that you're facing right now that could actually help you grow? Mama said, guiding Gabi through high school and into college. Yeah. I know. When I was talking to you guys and she mentioned university, I was like, oh my God. She's at that point where now she's going to have to start thinking about universities. Oh my God. That's crazy. I can't imagine how you're feeling. Yeah. Can't imagine. It's very scary. So I do this every week, but this week specifically, I have a 2-part challenge for you to do after this live. You can do this at any time. It's not, I like to call it homework because I don't mind the word homework, but some people get triggered. So if you don't like the word homework, you could take it as a little challenge, right? Gabi said, it's overwhelming, but I know it's going to be so rewarding. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's going to be awesome for her. And at least you've been through it a couple times now. So it's not like a new feeling for you. Like you've never been there before, you know. But it's going to be special. It's going to be special. Because I feel like you got to be a big part of her studies. Because you shifted into homeschooling. So it is a little bit different. Someone said here that they don't have audio. That's weird. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, cool. I'm live on YouTube, y'all, too. So I'm going to have to check my settings. Yeah, someone sent me a message on YouTube. Okay, sorry. I got to be a part of literally everything and pray that God grant me the strength and grace I need. Yep, He will. He will. And you still got a few years, so let's not rush this, okay? Let's not even go there. We're not ready for this conversation yet. So, I have a challenge for you guys. So it's a 2-part challenge. Part 1 is celebrating a little mini win for yourself, right? So I want you to take one recent setback and reframe it as a lesson. So I want you to write down the setback that you went through or the failure obstacle that you went through. And I want you to know how you can apply a lesson moving forward. So that's the first challenge, right? So I'm going to repeat that one more time. Take one recent setback and reframe it as a lesson. So write it down and know how you can apply the growth mindset moving forward. And then the second part is I want you to try to catch yourself this week when you say that you can't do something, whether that's in your mind or out loud. So I'm going to say that one more time. I want you to catch yourself when you say I can't, whether that's verbally or in your mind. I want you to catch yourself and I want you to add the yet at the end. Okay? So instead of I can't, I want you to add I can't yet to it. And I want you to see and pay attention to how that small shift, that extra word in there, how it changes the way that you approach the challenge. Because I know from experience that when we add that last word, yet, it really does change our perspective. It really does change our effort and our motivation to actually push through a challenge. You guys got that? And again, I'll be posting this live on playback for a replay on my YouTube channel. So it's the same name as my TikTok. So feel free to subscribe to my YouTube and you'll be able to access other videos that I post there, and you'll be able to see the full live. All right, so if you guys got that, I want to give you guys a little sneak peek to next week. So next week, we're going to be talking about handling those setbacks and failure without losing momentum. So we've talked about the mindset. Now I really want to dig deep into handling those setbacks and handling the failure without losing momentum and without losing the faith in yourself, right? Oh, Elizabeth, that's awesome. Thank you so much for coming in today. I appreciate your engagement and your support on my live. And I hope you have an awesome walk and you can recharge and have a good night's rest. But I appreciate everyone that was here today. I thank you so much for coming in. Again, next week, we'll be talking about handling setbacks and the failure without losing momentum. And it'll be on Thursday, next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I look forward to seeing you guys then. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye.